When I was 14, I had the opportunity to go hiking at a Boy Scout camp in Philmont, New Mexico. Now, if you've ever gone hiking with a large group, you know that the two most important people are at the head and tail of the line of march. The one at the head of the line makes sure that everyone is moving in the right direction, and the one at the tail makes sure that no one gets left behind. We started our hike with an adult at the head and an adult at the tail. But on our second day out, the adult who was leading the hike asked me to take the tail position. This was a great compliment and an opportunity for me, and I silently vowed that no one would ever fall behind me. Well, we hiked up a mountain for a good 7 hours, and everything seemed to be going great until suddenly, near the end of the day, the scout in front of me stopped dead in his tracks and screamed, "We're lost! We're lost!" I'd been paying close attention to keeping this guy in my sight ahead of me. But as it turned out, he hadn't been paying close attention to the people in front of him, and he had taken a wrong turn on a switchback. So here we were, lost on the side of a mountain with the sun going down. After a few suitable moments of panic, we hunkered down and we built a fire. And fortunately, after several hours went by, we were rescued. But the experience left me with a valuable lesson that has proven useful many occasions in my life. Be careful whom you follow. Effective leadership is essential in just about any organization. It's a skill for which some people have a natural talent, but it's also an ability that can be cultivated. So in this lecture, I would like to share with you the most important things that I've learned about leadership during my 30-year career of studying, coaching, working with, and developing great leaders across a wide variety of organizations. Let's start by thinking about what effective leadership looks like. Who would you say was a great leader? What name pops into your head? May I be somewhat presumptuous and throw out some names and see if any of them made your list? How about Abraham Lincoln? What about General Dwight D. Eisenhower? Martin Luther King Jr.? Margaret Thatcher? Mother Teresa? Maybe Bill Gates? Now ask yourself, why did you put the people you've chosen on your list? There's a good chance that they made history by doing something great, and that they demonstrated characteristics, noble qualities, for example, vision, tenacity, courage, the ability to inspire and motivate others, perseverance, creativity and innovation, and game-changing problem solving. Now, what if I reframe the question and I ask you to think of the best leader that you've ever worked for during your career? Who pops into your head? What was it that made this leader that you work for so great? Are his or her qualities the same as the ones I listed for great world leaders, or are they different? Chances are good that for the most part, they're pretty much the same. I've found that over the years that there's a great deal to be learned by looking at the effective leaders who are all around us. Why? Because they tend to use the very specific skill sets and practices to get great results from the people that they work with. And once you understand those skills and practices, you can make yourself into an effective leader too. But first, let's consider why leadership is so important. Wherever I travel these days, people are talking about leadership. More and more organizations are making it quite clear that they no longer want managers, supervisors, or administrators. They want leaders. There's a wide body of literature and research that tells us why this is the case. The practice of leadership is becoming increasingly important in our ultra-competitive marketplace, as effective leaders can have a dramatic impact on a wide range of critically important organizational performance variables. Leadership can impact innovation and creativity, change and transformation, productivity and efficiency, employee turnover, workforce motivation, and job satisfaction, just to name a few key components of business success. Good leaders tend to bring out the best in all of us, and they typically make good things happen. And sorry to say, poor and ineffective leaders tend to make our work lives problematic or maybe even horrible when things are already challenging enough. In fact, they can make it tough to get out of bed, come to work, and keep a positive attitude and actually get our work done. Now, there are many theories of leadership, and in my experience, no single one captures all the aspects of this complex topic. But when you take all of these leadership theories and models into account, they can provide us with keen insight into the complexities associated with one person influencing the behavior of others. Let's start by defining what a leader is. A leader is someone who influences others towards the achievement of goals and desired outcomes, or an individual who causes others to do things they might not otherwise do, or someone who makes things happen and gets results with and through people. Ideally, a leader is someone who has the talent and character to influence others in productive and positive ways. Although one does not have to look too far into history or the newspapers to find plenty of leaders who use their talents for destructive and even evil purposes. Here's an important question about leadership for you to consider. Why would I want to follow you if you were my boss? During my career, I've asked this question of over 25,000 business leaders, and here are some of the most common responses. I know where we're going, and I'll help you get there. I will work hard to get you the resources that we need to be successful. I will teach you everything I know, and I'll help you develop. I will listen to you and keep you in the loop. I will help you succeed. I'll empower you to make your own decisions. You can trust me. I could go on, but the point here is that we all know on some level that leadership is all about connecting with people and doing the things that our followers need from us so that they can be successful. And remember, successfully delivering desired results is the key to career success and survival. At its core, effective leadership is always based on the interaction of two critically important factors. The first factor is a leader's competency, and the second factor is a leader's character. And if you don't believe me, consider your own list of reasons why people would be willing to follow you. If you're like most people, the things you've included have everything to do with your competency and your character rather than the position you hold or your title. We all know a leader is competent when he or she possesses the requisite skills and talents necessary to successfully lead people to achieve desired results in a given situation. Or stated somewhat differently, the leader knows what he or she is doing. If you've ever worked for an incompetent or bungling boss, you know that things can get pretty crazy when the wrong person is in charge. Now, leaders have character when they possess the moral and ethical underpinnings necessary to do the right thing and lead people in a principled fashion. When leaders have character, it means that their people can count on them to do the right thing. A boss who lacks character and a strong moral compass can make a work environment into a very, very disturbing, distressing, and distrustful place. When taken together, competency and character create what I have come to call a leader's trustworthiness. And when people trust their leader, good things happen. When a leader's competency and character are in place, they can have a powerful impact on the leader's followers, causing them to be motivated, supportive, and even loyal to their boss and organization. Conversely, when we find ourselves working for a leader we deem untrustworthy because of a lack of competency or character, our focus shifts from doing our job and getting results to finding ways to make up for our boss's shortcoming. So in the end, a trustworthy leader is in a greater position to have a positive influence on the people in his or her charge, regardless of the industry, organizational level, or functional business area. Now, any serious study of leadership wouldn't be complete without addressing some of the more important leadership theories. So let me highlight 6 key leadership schools of thought that can make a real difference in your understanding of leadership. As you'll see, these theories can provide us with some key takeaways. First, there's the Trait Leadership School. Early efforts to understand leadership success focused on the leader's personal traits and characteristics. This was called the Great Person theory of leadership. The belief was that if people possessed certain traits, they would be more likely to be successful in a leadership role. Now, traits are the distinguishing personal characteristics of a leader, and research has shown that traits such as a desire to lead others, intelligence and job-relevant knowledge, honesty and integrity, creativity, ambition and drive, optimism and self-confidence, as well as flexibility are all linked to leadership success. Now, possessing these traits does not necessarily mean that a person is destined to be a great leader, but it does suggest that successful leaders have characteristics that set them apart from other people. So here's the key takeaway. It's critically important for all of us to know our strengths and our weaknesses as leaders. If you're serious about being a successful leader, you will need to develop the necessary talent, skills, and persona required of us for any given leadership position we hold. Next, there's the Behavioral Leadership School. One of the most broadly researched leadership theories focuses on 2 key dimensions of leader behavior: the leader's concern for task and concern for people. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever worked for a boss who is completely task-oriented, but it's safe to say that they spent a lot of time setting aggressive goals, planning and organizing activities, delegating work, supervising progress, and measuring performance. And while these are all critically important leadership activities, these activities alone are not enough for a person to be truly effective in their leadership role. When a person is completely task-oriented, working for him or her can turn into a working for Darth Vader scenario, and it won't be a whole lot of fun. This leadership school makes a very strong case that leaders can and must also demonstrate a real concern for people. People-oriented leaders work to create a warm and social rapport with employees. They respect the feelings of others, and they demonstrate trust in their people. They emphasize ongoing employee involvement and participation, and they demonstrate sensitivity to the needs of others. Be aware, though, while having concern for people sounds great, when a leader does not counterbalance these activities with the concern for getting the work done, trouble is not far behind. Leaders who place all their concern on building happy, people-centered workplaces without an equal concern for getting the work done are frequently called country club leaders, and their ability to deliver results is often in jeopardy. So here's another key takeaway. It's very clear that every leader must balance their concern for the task of getting results with a genuine concern for their employees. In other words, these activities are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they complement each other quite nicely. And then there's the Contingency or Situational Leadership School. This school is actually a collection of numerous leadership theories, all of which make it very clear that there's no one best approach to being an effective leader. In this theoretical camp, an effective leader is one who takes into account the circumstances under which they're asked to lead and then develops an appropriate leadership style to meet the demands of that given situation. Research in this school has identified a number of critically important factors that can impact a leader's ability to have a positive impact on a group of followers. These factors can include the leader's working relationships with group members, the nature of the